Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
When I was driving home today, I passed by a Texas Roadhouse. And you know how the Texas Roadhouse flies both the American flag and the state of Texas flag?
I mean, I guess that makes sense, yes.
Yeah. Well, the state of Texas flag was was not completely, but like partially wrapped around the pole, so much so that none of the blue was showing. None of the blue of the star was showing. So are they the Poland Roadhouse now?
The pole. That is a very niche joke. I mean, I like look. I mean, niche is maybe not the right word, but more so just like I don't know how many people would know. I mean, I would not know what the Polish flag is, but I mean, I appreciate
now you do. It's white on top, it's red on bottom. One of the simplest flags in the world.
Yes, boring. I guess is maybe more so how I would put it.
And then I think it's Indonesia and Monaco. Indonesia and Monaco have the inverse, where it's red on top, white on bottom, and Indonesia and Monaco has it's like a very slightly different shade of red. But it's the inverse of Poland, which is white on top, red on bottom.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I it would be surprising for the Texas Roadhouse to turn
rebrand into instead of dinner rolls, they sell pierogies.
I mean, to be fair though, I would be mad. I like me some pierogies.
I've actually never had a pierogi.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're just delicious. Like they remind me. Hold on. I want to make sure. Before I say anything stupid, I want to just double check what a pierogi is. Yes. Okay. Yeah. They're basically they're dumplings. They're like these just delicious and they're like usually filled with like potatoes. And it's just delicious. I've had them on numerous occasions. It's like a great like little like appetizer thing to have, or even just for a meal. It's just a good time if you like finger food. All right. Well, thank you, Matt, for the flag education. I didn't know. Like, I mean, I know you know a lot of things about geography. I just didn't think flags would be something that you would be.
I mean, it's something a little bit. It's more that like when I drove by, I was like, wait, that's the Poland flag. Before realizing that, oh no, it just like wrapped around the flagpole and was omitting the star part.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's no more shining stars here. No, I mean, like the flag, like I feel like I'm pretty good at, definitely very good at U.S. geography.
Yeah.
World geography is hit or miss.
State capital of New Jersey.
Of New Jersey?
Yeah.
Trenton?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, capitals I might be a little bit more leery. I just much so like give me a blank map and I would be able to fill out all the states. Like that's which is I know is very basic, but for a lot of people they can't do that. Especially when you get to like the really square. Every state starts to look the same in the West, where everything's all the same shape, and you're just like, wait, what? But
there are two states that are the same shape.
Yeah, Colorado and Wyoming, right?
Yep. Which one's north?
Wyoming.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, Colorado. I think the quadrants, if I'm remembering correctly, because Wyoming and Colorado are part of that quadrant, right?
They're not part of the.
No,
they're not part of the four corners. If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, Utah is the one I'm thinking of. It's Utah on the northwest, Colorado northeast, southeast is New Mexico.
Yep.
And then Arizona.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
You got it.
I've got a brain. I'm working it today. Anyways, speaking of brains, no one had one this weekend because Jesus Christ.
Nobody understood football this weekend, including the football players.
It's been a whirlwind. This season I think is officially inebriated.
I think that this might be like I don't want to use the word worst season, but it's the most. It's the most confused I think I've ever been watching football since we started this podcast.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Well, I to be fair, yes, and I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I also think we sometimes hit this point of the season every single year.
But it's not this bad. It's not when we get 3 correct games picked.
Man, I wish my mind was capable enough just to even like remember like what I had for breakfast this morning. But but even just like I wish I had the brain to memorize like the things that would where we would be at in football seasons in seasons past, because like I swear we've had this conversation before. I don't know. It is just it feels like a cycle that we've gone through many times. Where it's like, man, we know nothing. We cannot read a single thing about this season about any of these seasons. But like, yeah, no, this one definitely feels kind of fucked.
So at week, we just finished week 7.
Yes.
My week 7 record right now is 59-47. My week 7 record last year was 61-46.
Oh yeah, you keep.
So not that much different. That's 2 less.
Yeah.
Like, although maybe bye weeks kind of mess with that a little bit.
Yeah, but it's still I
have 1 more loss than than I had last year at this time.
Right.
And I didn't really. I think the difference is though is that I was much more consistent last year. Like I was never. I had 1 12-4 week. The rest were between 7 and 10. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I did have a 13-3 week, so that kind of offset it.
Wait,
a little bit.
I'm sorry. You had a 1-12 week last year?
No, I had a 12-4.
Oh, I was just like, wait.
I had 1 12-4 week.
Oh, okay. I got so confused for a second. I was just like, wait.
No, I didn't do that bad.
I feel.
But like last year, my lowest was 7 correct in a week.
Yeah, no, this is up there among my worst weeks too. I mean, I've been having a rough season as a whole.
Yeah,
but like I'm closing it on 500. On like 50. My record overall right now is 55-51.
Gotcha.
I don't think we've ever had a losing picking record this far into the season. So maybe that kind of we're inching towards that territory, at least with me.
Yep.
That like that's if it gets there, then this is definitely one of the more unpredictable NFL seasons. Or maybe I'm just bad at this. I don't know.
Both.
But sure.
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's fair. So it was a wild week. A lot of great games. I guess it was kind of hard to narrow down game of the week here. I opted to choose a Thursday Night Football matchup. I chose to talk about Jaguars and Saints because I don't know.
I might disagree with that one.
Well, because like I don't want to talk about Browns Colts.
Okay, why not?
I don't want to talk about the Browns. We've talked to I'm just
how the Browns are so much better when Deshaun Watson doesn't play.
I mean that's a fair point. I don't know. I've also been trying to I want to mix in some other teams. The Colts have been in this conversation for game of the week before. And I like the Jaguars Saints game. I thought it was fun.
It was a good game.
To me, it was a matchup that it felt like it was gonna get away, and the Jaguars were just gonna bulldoze through it. Travis Etienne was having a pretty solid game overall. And then all of a sudden, they bring out Taysom Hill, and then all hell breaks loose. And the Saints score 2 touchdowns. And then it ended up being like this tied game, and you didn't know which way it was going to go. And then finally, it was a breakout 44-yard pass from Trevor Lawrence to Christian Kirk that ultimately sealed the game away. I just thought it was an interesting game, and I thought thinking about the season as a whole, when you think about the NFC South and the AFC South, both of these divisions are going to just be really fascinating to follow because, yes, the Jaguars, I would say, are the favorites right now, but they definitely are not playing at, this super elite level. They have key players on both sides of the ball that are playing well, but I don't think anything is, completely shining for them. Whereas, and then you flip it over to the Saints, and you could make the argument that they're the best team in the NFC South, and then you could make the argument that they're the third best, and that's just kind of just speaks to the quality of that division. Because, boy, I think coming out of especially Sunday's matchup between the Falcons and Buccaneers, I think I would make the argument the Saints are the best team.
Well, you weren't inspired by the Arthur Smith?
No.
Bijan wasn't feeling well. We didn't put him in the concussion protocol or anything, even though he had a headache. I hope he gets fined for that shit. Sucks ass.
I'm baffled by that entire sequence, and I don't understand. I think we've just reached a part where I don't think I understand Arthur Smith at all.
No, you spent the past 3 years picking players in the top 10 of the NFL draft because your team is always in the top 10 of the NFL draft because your team sucks, and then you don't use those players that you pick that high for Jonnu Smith and Mac Hollins, Tyler Algier. Like, I don't hate those as players or anything. Cordell Patterson is old.
Yeah.
You have Bijan Robinson. Why do you not use the players that you drafted highly? This is not about the Falcons.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Guess who has Bijan Robinson in fantasy?
In fact, I feel like you've actually drafted a lot of Falcons players in fantasy, and it has backfired.
Never again.
At least until Arthur Smith is out, and then maybe.
When Arthur Smith is out, sure. But Kyle Pitts burned me last year. I have Bijan in Dynasty, so that's different. If Arthur Smith's out after this year, which I hope he is, that problem will be solved. Yeah. But it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't make any sense. And then you're not like the worst part is that he's winning football games.
Right. Yeah. It's because it's the division. The
division sucks, and he's beating teams in the sucky division, and he gets to play the fucking Titans this week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're they are the comedians of the NFL, the Falcons, the cruel jokes that they are. Anyways, yeah. So I just picked that one. Yeah, like the Browns Colts game was very fun. It definitely was an insane matchup. I think Gardner Minshew played very, very well, and Myles Garrett is just a complete monster.
Yep.
Yeah. That speaking of weird medical things, it is very weird what's going on with Watson and how they're handling that situation, because they're making it sound like, like he got tackled or whatever, and he had his head hit the back of the turf, and so like that does trigger the concussion protocol stuff.
Right.
And then he goes in and they say, okay, no, you do not have a concussion, and then he does not come back into the game, and instead they have PJ Walker, and they're like, oh, we just want to keep him healthy because of the shoulder, but then it just goes back to like 3 weeks ago. It's just like, then why was he like medically cleared by the team 3 weeks ago? Like, it just is so weird, and I just think I think it's a work in some way, whether it's the Browns just realizing he is not going to be the guy of the future and just trying not to say that out loud because they literally mortgaged their soul for this guy, or maybe it's Watson holding out because he realizes he sucks ass. I don't know. I'm just it's a very bizarre circumstance. Let's talk about the blowout of the week, which I think is maybe a little surprising as a blowout, but
yeah.
The Lions at the Ravens, a 38-6 victory for the Baltimore Ravens, who just demolished the Lions, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, just completely gashed them. What does this game tell you about either team, whichever direction you want to take?
I think that this tells me more about the Ravens than it does the Lions.
Okay.
And I think that this is the Ravens team that we saw the potential in at the start of the year, you know?
Yeah.
This is the Ravens at their peak potential, and it is 1,000,000% possible that this is the Ravens from here on out. Because the Lions are a pretty good defense and a pretty good offense, and the Ravens just fucking smacked them down.
Yeah,
I do think that if the Ravens are able to keep this solid, they are Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I look, Lamar Jackson had a perfect passer rating of 10 yards or more passes. Like that's very, very good. And the defense the Ravens defense has actually been sneakily the best in the NFL.
It's kind of been amazing, yeah.
It has it's not been given a lot of attention, but they really have been playing out of their minds. It has just been a dysfunctional offense at times that has thrown them off, but yesterday they had their offensive linemen playing very well, protecting Lamar Jackson, and you had the receivers actually catching the ball, which, wow, what a concept. Yeah. And so it all clicked for the Ravens yesterday, or on Sunday, and I don't know. I get what you're saying about the Lions, and that it shouldn't change people's opinions. I'm a little rattled about it, because rattled's not the right word, because I did pick the Ravens in this game, so I'm not surprised by this result, but it's just more so like we're talking about up the Lions as this like Super Bowl contender, and I want that. Of course, I want that.
Yeah,
but I need them to win games like this. I understand they beat the Chiefs in week 1, but like to me, there is such a difference between a week 1 game and now, where week 1, like, everyone's rusty, everyone's all over the place, you can't really accurately assess things in week 1. Now we're entering week 8, and I feel like you start to get a better idea of what teams are. Granted, again, this NFL season's drunk, so we can't really assess anything. But I don't know. I'm worried about the Lions. That's all.
I think the Lions, the way that the Lions go, and I think the most likely outcome for the Lions is that they make it to the divisional round.
Yeah,
they win their wild card matchup. They make it to the divisional round and probably lose to the 49ers or Eagles.
Right. And my biggest thing too is just like I would love to, because it has been so long since they've won the division. They have not hosted a playoff game in many, many, many years. Like,
and here's the thing: they're winning the division. The rest of the division sucks so bad.
No, I don't know about that, Matt.
Chris, I don't think the Vikings. I'm not going to trust the Vikings compared to the Lions.
The Vikings have such an easier schedule coming down the pike, and I think also the fact that they played as well as they did against the Niners on Sunday in prime time, which is usually not Kirk Cousins' bag. They played
without the chaos.
That's not good. That's not the chaos. I'm not that good at transitioning. To me, like, I feel like that's a team that is starting to wake up a little bit after a really rough start to the year. And yes, I'm with you. Like, the Vikings are a team that you do not want to trust long term, but I still think that given the Lions' history, and given the Vikings' recent history in terms of very consistently either being in like the division conversation, I just think that this is a division that's gonna come down to week 18. I just feel it in my gut, because I want the Lions to keep on winning out. I would love to see them see that happen. And you know what, the Lions also have a very easy schedule, so maybe things will just break their way and they'll be fine. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this division gets clinched like the week after Thanksgiving. That would be amazing. I would be very happy for the Lions. I just don't trust it. That's all. Right now. But the chaos of the week is actually the Bills at Patriots.
That's a good one,
because look, say what you will about the Bills at this point, but like, I think everyone this week spent the entire time talking about that this was like just the death of the Patriots, and talking about how Bill Belichick is on death's door, and it probably still is.
Yeah.
But man, that's a rough game to lose if you're the Buffalo Bills.
It was bad on all fronts for them.
Their offense was completely asleep for most of the game. They came alive and tied the game up, and you wanted to trust the defense to make one last stop on Mac Jones, and they couldn't do it. And that's how the Patriots were able to score the winning touchdown and take away that game. And it just, and now there's a lot of conversation like, oh, maybe Mac Jones is the future. I'm just like, okay, it's one game, guys.
No, he's not.
It's one game. let give it time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it will be. I just don't think it will. But I'm speaking of teams I'm very worried about. I'm very worried about the Buffalo Bills.
I am very worried about the Bills as well. They don't have the drive that you've seen.
We're gonna talk about it in a second because our mid seg is going to be about the trade deadline. If I'm the Bills, I'm buying. I'm mortgaging your future.
Yeah,
I'm buying. I'm getting whoever is available. Specifically on the offensive side, you need more weapons. Like Stephon Diggs is great. He's an amazing player, but he is not going to be enough for this team that should have signed DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason, should have had many other opportunities to try to get better players on that offense, and they just did not do it. So this has been a very rough 3-week stretch for the Bills after they beat the Dolphins. Things could have not gone worse for them ultimately. Well, maybe it could have gone worse if the Giants won, but it's still pretty rough.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the trade deadline.
Let's do it.
We're 2 weeks away from our mid-season special. And for some reason, they have not moved back the trade deadline yet. I don't understand why. It just makes so much fucking sense to have the trade deadline happen at this point in like the first week of December, because at that point teams will know that they're out of it and will absolutely be willing to sell and make moves. But instead,
I'm gonna push back. I do think it's better for them to have it a little bit earlier, because that way not there aren't too many teams who are trying to like tank and sell. I feel like having too many teams, like if a third of the league is trying to get rid of all their best players, then things are just going to consolidate more and more.
I see what you mean. So I feel like that stuff is probably gonna already happen already.
Right. But I feel like it would be more obvious of like people trying to like unload, you know?
Yeah, I would not mind the unloading and a bunch of teams choosing to tank if it meant that those players ended up on a bunch of different teams. If everyone's just going to trade their players to the Eagles, then yeah, I could see where that's a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's just for I think that we're not going to have. It's like the excitement level of having players being moved and having like a lot of these big time names being moved at the deadline. And I feel like we're far and few between. We're not really going to get that much. And I think it would just be more of an interesting situation and one that makes more sense to help these other teams out, to help the losing teams gain draft capital for April, to be like, all right, we're not going to win this year. Let's just get as much draft capital as possible and trade away our best players. Like, I think that the NFL is structured in a way that like you can have a team that is dominant for many years. We had it with the Patriots, we had it for the Chiefs, but it was like I don't think you're going to see we have not seen either of those teams win back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, I don't think you're going to have these monster teams that no one's going to be able to take down necessarily if you have that move. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. But we did already have a trade go down that I thought was significant enough to talk about real quick. The Eagles, speaking of, traded for Kevin Byard. So, like, a year and a half removed from trading their best offensive player away to the Eagles, the Titans decided to trade one of their cornerstone defensive players to the Eagles as well. And I'm just like, speaking of to your point, Matt, why are we giving all the good players to the Eagles? It's insane. It's happening way too much. All right, Matt, trade deadline.
Trade deadline.
What's your predictions? Give me one of your predictions for trade.
I have one that I want very badly to happen. I think would be really funny. And very 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 cool. Very cool. Derrick Henry to the Ravens.
Okay. Yeah. So you saw that Greg Rosenthal tweet, and you're like, yes, that. Please.
I mean, that would take the Ravens offense and the rushing offense to like another level that is already on.
Yeah.
They would need to pay more attention to the run. He's been Derrick Henry does a good job minus like one half of a season in his entire career of not being injured, which Baltimore needs. Yeah. So I think it would be a great fit. Tennessee already seems to be selling. So
yes, yeah, they are
like badly. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, Titans are in a rebuild situation. That's kind of been clear since even prior to the season. That they've kind of been moving into a direction of wanting to gain draft capital and maybe trading away the bigger assets, aka like Kevin Byard, for example. So I think it's likely that we do see a movement for Derrick Henry. Who knows who it goes to, but yeah, I think the Ravens would be a fantastic pick. I'll just read mine. Bills acquire wide receiver Davante Adams.
Yes.
The way I see this is that Davante Adams he runs on the left side versus Stephon Diggs, who is on the right side. So you're not really clashing in terms of that, in terms of the specific positioning on the field. And I just think, man, just get someone who has been as reliable as Adams has been for any team, for either the Packers or the Raiders, wherever he has been. He's just been incredibly reliable. I don't care how much the Raiders ask for, you just give it to them. I think the Bills have reached a desperate point. I think they have reached a point where at least the Bills that we know right now, the window is closing. Maybe Josh Allen will have his chances later, but this iteration of the Bills, it is nearing its end. And I think unless they can keep up with the rest of the conference in some way and get their offense to a point where it's firing on all cylinders, it ain't gonna happen this year. Like, you already have the Ravens ahead of you, you already have the Dolphins ahead of you, and you still have the Chiefs ahead of you, and you may even have the Bengals if the Bengals get back on track. Like, it's not looking great for the Bills right now. You take the opportunity, you take Davante Adams, and you cause chaos.
I like that adage.
Mm-hmm. What's another trade that you have?
So I have two that are involving the same team, but in different directions and for different reasons.
Sure, hit me with it.
Okay, first one is I think Brian Burns will get traded off of the Panthers.
Okay.
A fantastic linebacker, defensive player. I think it would be massive if he did get moved, because I think he's both someone that you can build around, but I do think that he's like just old enough that like getting another contract with their current situation wouldn't be too helpful.
Yeah. And
they're currently in the hole that they dug with Bryce Young that they really got to get out of. So I think that moving Brian Burns would be able to get them kind of out of that hole. As for where he goes, I'm not too sure, because I can't think of like a contending team right now that really needs like pass rush help, because even like the Lions are pretty good.
I mean, I think the Lions could use more, especially
they could always use more
after the situation.
After Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like maybe the Lions would be a great fit. I literally cannot think of anyone else.
Yeah, I feel like you could also probably get like the Dolphins to potentially buy on that. You could probably get a few teams. Maybe, it would be fucked, and again, go to your point about consolidation, it would be stupid. But I considering that they've been not performing like well, especially in the last 2 weeks, maybe the 49ers, they just take they add him to a defensive line that has generally has been
really good,
has always been very good, but add yet another piece of
to the linebacker.
A player that has played well. Like, Yeah, there's a few places I could see that working. Or the Chiefs. I mean, Chiefs have had amazing defense, but
yeah, they really have. I don't think it would go to the Chiefs.
But
and the Chiefs is the boring answer.
It is the boring answer, but I also think that it would be a very Chiefs thing to be like, what's our strength? Let's make it stronger. and continue to ignore the wide receiver position. That's just the Chiefs' way.
They don't need wide receivers.
They don't. No.
They don't. I saw a tweet that was like, this is unrelated to trades, but I saw a tweet that was like, Sean McVay, like 4 offensive head coaches got together and decided to run an offense without a specific position. So Sean McVay doesn't have a running back. Mike McDaniel doesn't have a tight end. Andy Reid doesn't have a wide receiver, and then Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, they came together and they're like, we are now making. We are slowly
and they're all great at their jobs.
Yeah, we're all making positionless football as we speak right now. This next one is a little bit of a boring pick, but I was just kind of like, I was thinking of like, oh, okay, what's a likely trade that could happen around this deadline that's not going to make any waves, but it will be at least kind of interesting to see how it goes. Chargers have been struggling. They've been their defense has not been good this year. It's had moments where it's played well, but overall could use another player to make things a little bit more interesting. So I figured, this guy hasn't had a really amazing season since like 2018, 2019, but I think why not give him an opportunity alongside Derwin James. I went with Eddie Jackson from the Bears as a Charger.
Yeah, I get it though.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic player, but he hasn't had a peak in a while. But like,
no, he hasn't, and he's been just on the fucking Bears. So
yes, right, and yeah, he also had been injured, and I think he played for the first time like last week or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just like, what? This is like a guy who was like a superstar in his first few years and how well he was playing for the Bears. Like, let's give him another place that he could shine. That's not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed.
But it's just an option. Did you have another one last one?
I did, and this time it's someone going to the Panthers. The Panthers have been looking for a number 1 wide receiver to help out Bryce Young.
Sure.
And I think that this is like the saddest trade on the board because I don't think it would work out for either player or team. But Jerry Jeudy to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like Jerry Jeudy is gonna like be that great, nor will that like turn the Panther season around or anything.
Yeah.
Nor do I think that he'll be fantastic long term or anything. But I think it would just be like it would be the perfect like not I'm trying to think of the right words. It would just be the perfect like. Yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah, that's all we can do right now, guys.
Yeah.
I do wonder, going back like to last year's when we had this episode or a couple of years ago, how many times we brought up the name Jerry Jeudy because he's always in that conversation.
He always seems like he's gonna get traded because the Broncos suck.
Right.
And he's always still on the Broncos, and then he continues to suck. So
right, exactly. So
whether it's his fault or the fact that he's literally never had a good quarterback.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. But I would respect it if they went in that direction. I'd be like, all right, fair, fine. I mean, maybe it'll be a good change of scenery. He can be the main star there. I'm really surprised that Thielen hasn't really done much for them.
For the Panthers?
I mean, he's done it like a little bit.
He's been like the only person that Bryce has been able to
throw
to.
Okay, yeah. I feel like you don't hear anything about him, like
because you just don't hear anything about the Panthers.
Yeah, it's just it's been buried. But like I'm just like I feel like
Thielen is like the only wide receiver bright spot, and it's the fact that he's like 33.
Yeah, well, that's
and
true,
on the Panthers that like nobody cares, and all the intentions on Bryce Young, and Thielen's just like the only person that he's able to throw to.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of the pass rush situation, because I understand what you were saying. Yeah, it definitely feels like maybe not like the biggest thing that people are looking for, but in a way that I'm like I was saying earlier, I'm a bit worried and disappointed about how the Lions performed on Sunday. I just thought it was gonna be a lot closer. And so I'm just like, you know what? Let's get you another defensive player. alongside Aiden Hutchinson that can wreak havoc and really make your defense what it is. The only, and I'm going to a well that I've already been to, but the one of the best players on one of the worst teams in the NFL. Give the Lions Max Crosby. Put him. That's
disgusting.
Put him alongside.
That's disgusting. That's fantastic, but that's disgusting.
Put him alongside Aiden Hutchinson. And
said Devonta Adams there too, just really like
right. Well, that's true, right? Like, why not? You could do that.
Give 2 first-round picks, maybe not 2, first and 2 seconds for both Adams and Crosby.
Oh no, it would definitely be 2 first-round picks.
I know.
That's a lot. That's a coup right there.
I know.
If that happens, yeah, no. So I don't know why I was thinking about the Raiders so much. It's just more like, man,
the Raiders suck.
This Raiders team sucks, and has so many good players on it. So I'm just kind of like, I want these players to be on other teams that where maybe they can succeed. So yeah, just threw both of those out there, and then Eddie Jackson. So yeah.
Because I didn't say it earlier. Congrats to the Giants for the second "go fuck yourself" game of the week in a row.
Yeah. Hey, that's what we'll serve. You know,
you won.
We won.
But you can go fuck yourself.
That's fine.
Commanders, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, we will be very happily
fucking yourselves.
Fucking ourselves. that's I that's kind of, we had so much fun last year, and now we're just like, yep, we'll go fuck ourselves now. This is the season of going to fuck ourselves.
You deserve this.
Yeah, this is what we've earned. After a very nice playoff year to make anything exciting for the Giants. All right. So there you go. That's our trade deadline predictions. I like I said, I like the trade deadline, and I would like it to be more exciting. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be something surprising around the corner, like the McCaffrey trade. That happened last year.
Speaking of, I just read a tweet that Christian McCaffrey is exactly 10,000 days old today.
Huh. Happy birthday, I guess.
That's not how birthdays work.
Yeah, it's not how it works. But... yeah, happy 10,000th birth. Anyways, week 7 records go like this, as we've discussed at the top. I went 5-8. Did not get my guarantee, did not get my chaos. -4 on the week. Matt, 3-10.
3-10.
-1 because of the no guarantee, no chaos.
Yep.
-8. And I also want to point out this. We are collectively at least on a 3-week losing streak where we have not, neither of us have gotten our guarantee or chaos.
Yep.
I'm actually on a 6. I have not gotten a chaos right since week 1.
I've gotten 2 total all season. I got 1 and 4.
Yeah, right. And then I went 4-0 on my guarantees, and then I've lost 3 straight.
Yep.
And then you went 3-1 with your guarantees to start, and then have lost 3 straight.
Yep.
It's not been great for us.
No.
But as we stand here today, Matt is 59-47 with 10 points total. I am 55-51 with 2 points total. Hey, I'll take the win, though. I needed to close the gap, and I closed the gap, as putrid as this week still was, regardless. And now we go to week 8. Weirdly, no buys this week, so everyone's playing. Everyone's back and playing. Also, this is the... Oh, go ahead.
I think they used like AI or something to help them build the schedule this year. Yeah. And nobody seemed to mention that, like, hey, maybe we can spread the week 6 and 7 buys out to week 8 a little bit. Yeah. No one thought to check.
No one thought.
I'm okay with like AI for like things like that. But as long as here's the genuine truth. I do think that AI learning does have some fascinating uses.
Sure.
The only thing that I will staunchly fight against is AI art. Anything that is artistic cannot be made by a machine. It must be made by a human, otherwise it has no merit. And you do not get any credit for making something with an AI machine. art cannot be synthetically created.
Was not expecting an AI sidebar, but hey, that's what these episodes could do for you.
They can. We have a lot of sidebars today.
That's okay. It's fine. I endorse your message. I would also add, generally speaking, I'm also kind of staunchly against AI writing, like creative writing, specifically.
Well, yeah, that's I consider that
in the
artistic
art, in the art,
yeah.
in the art umbrella.
Yep.
But also you're just the people that are like just taking like people that are just trying to write up anything and like just be like, hey, we're gonna assign this fake name to this article and we're gonna have this article read like complete ass. And
it's like, always shit. Like they never check it.
You go to Google and you search up, you ask a question like, where do kumquats come from? And you click on the first link, and you have to scroll into like the 11th or 12th paragraph to get even like a semblance for an answer. But like previous to that, for some reason, it's like the history of the 1989 Houston Rockets, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Why does that have anything to do? And you're just confused. The AI is in that sense completely atrocious. By the way, Matt, this is the last week. It's completely going back to the NFL. This is the last week that we are going to see the Niners, Broncos, Jaguars, and Lions before our midseason special. So we have to watch closely.
Oh, okay, that's good. Those are some big teams. Like,
yeah,
those are very important teams.
We have to watch closely for this week to see where they're at after this week. All right. Matt, why don't you get us started with introducing our Thursday Night Football game?
Thursday Night Football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Buffalo Bills. Both of them looking shaky. They have a very interesting futures ahead of them, I think, and I think this is going to be a defining matchup for both of them. Can the Buccaneers still hang with the big boys, or are the Bills being sent to timeout, living in the basement?
Yeah. They gotta win this game.
The
Bills gotta win this game. I'm gonna be so sad for them if they lose this one. It's rough. But if they lose this game, then to me, that you really throw your whole fucking body into this trade deadline race, because you gotta make a move. You gotta make a move somewhere, because that would be 3 of the last 4 weeks would be losses for you. So I'm picking the Bills.
I am also picking the Bills, but I'm jumping off the ship. Yeah. I'm jumping off the ship if they lose.
I will say this is my backup chaos in case the one I pick is maybe not kosher. I just want to say that.
Okay.
I want to say that ahead of time.
Right.
Next up, Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. Matchup between a Rams team that's just been up and down, I would say, overall this season. Cowboys, of course, coming off a bye. Rams lost last week to the Steelers. What do you think is going to happen here?
I think that the Cowboys are a better team when they're not playing the elite team, which is like a dumb thing to say.
I mean,
or no duh thing to say. But I do think that, at home, it's not prime time. Against a pretty good team, but not a lights out team. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys here.
I'm picking the Cowboys. You know what? Now I'm sitting here thinking about it. I feel like the Cowboys, Lions, and maybe even the Dolphins are kind of like in a similar tier right now.
I think I agree.
Where they're like, I mean, I know I'm like ignoring the Lions being the Chiefs in week 1, but like you gotta bear with me. It's to me, it's a different situation. But like I feel like I have yet to see from any of those, like that really big signature win over a similar Goliath, and I want to see that from any of these at some point. But yeah, I'm picking the Cowboys.
Very cool. All right, Vikings versus Packers. Packers now in contention for one of the worst teams in the league. If I had a party popper, I would be
sure.
I would be blowing it right now.
Yeah.
Versus the Vikings, who Kirk Cousins in primetime. Well-known primetime superstar Kirk Cousins played amazingly against the 49ers. Will they continue against the Packers?
I think so. I feel like I feel like it's been a pretty decent few weeks here for the Vikings. They're kind of getting back on track. It's been a rough start. I feel like the defense is starting to really find its identity with Brian Flores at the helm. And again, Cousins is playing pretty well, even without Justin Jefferson. I'm guaranteeing the Vikings here.
I am also picking the Vikings. I love the guarantee.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Packers really have not played good.
No.
Since week 1.
No.
At all.
I also think the spread, the Las Vegas spread people are being very nice to the Packers.
Yeah.
Granted, it's the Vikings. I get it, but
it is the Vikings. They also do play a lot of games close.
Yes.
But the Vikings have been playing well. And Jordan Addison is the real deal. We may get into the Chargers a little bit later, but oh man, did they whiff on their first round draft pick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great.
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons at the Tennessee Titans. We are going to see potentially both Malik Willis and Will Levis, his name?
Will Levis.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry.
Mr. Mayonnaise.
Forgot about him for a second. We might see both of them on Sunday to make up for the fact that Ryan Tannehill may not start this week. The Falcons, of course, we've lamented about, but they did win last week against the Bucs. What do you think's going to happen?
If you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you have no starting quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it pains me, I'm picking the Falcons because they're going to win this game, and Arthur's going to be like, "See, I told you." But and they win by scoring 16 points when they could win by scoring 28 points, but they just don't.
They don't.
They could. Like, that's the thing. They absolutely could, but they don't.
They don't.
Arthur.
They don't. It's just built into their DNA. They have a 20-point cap. They can't go over the cap, otherwise Arthur Smith begins to lose money. Like, it's just a weird thing with his contract.
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, I can't get over 20 points because otherwise the owner is gonna take money away from me. But yeah, no, I'm also taking the Falcons. I don't like it either. I don't like this matchup in general. I would say bad.
I'm physically upset at a lot of matchups this week. This is the one that I'm the most upset about.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up
there. Saints versus Colts. Chris Olave got arrested.
Yeah, that's not great.
Speeding. Which is not at least, he's not a bad person crime, but still dumbass behavior. So that will probably affect things versus the Colts, who played really well against the Browns, and this is one of the games that makes you go, "Hey, Gardner Minshew, you're pretty cool." Will that offense continue against the Saints defense?
I'm telling you, yeah. Last year you summoned Gardner Minshew, and he never came out of his backup role last year. But this year feels like it's going to be Minshew mania all over again.
Please.
I'm picking the Colts as well.
I'm picking the Colts. Let's go Minshew. I will still stand by that he might be the best quarterback in his draft class with Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones.
The argument's there. Kyler Murray is lurking around the corner, though. That's
if he comes back and he's great, I will rescind. But
yeah, who knows? Yeah. New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. This is the second matchup between these two teams. Last time the Patriots did play the Dolphins pretty close the first time, but now we're heading back to Miami. And things don't typically go well for New England in Miami, and that dates back to the Tom Brady era in general. What do you think's going to happen here?
Yeah, I think that Miami absolutely plays better at home. The hardest games for Miami this season are road games against great teams. I do not think the Patriots are a great team, nor is this a road game, so I do believe that Miami will win this one. And we'll get another funny video of McDaniel running to the locker room at halftime.
There you go.
That's my do I get another point if that happens?
I'll think about it. You're gonna have to remind me. But
I probably won't see it. But
I'm taking the Dolphins as well. Hey, you know what? This season has gotten me so fucked though, where I'm just like, I'm considering anything for chaos. Like I just said my backup was the Buccaneers, but I might go in other directions. I might pick the Patriots here, but okay. I'm not. I'm picking the Dolphins. Yeah. Because I do still have some sanity left. And also, I think there's a difference between the Dolphins played the Bills and Eagles, and yes, the Bills are maybe not as good of a team as we wanted them to be, but they're still a very good divisional opponent, and they're also, and the Dolphins also face the Eagles, though the Eagles are maybe the best team in the league right now, potentially. So I have faith in them moving forward.
All right. New York Jets versus the New York Giants. New York Jets playing pretty well recently. Mm-hmm. Even Zach Wilson seems to have stepped up a little bit. Versus the Giants, who managed to get a win off of Washington, but still only 14 points.
Still only 14 points.
In the Battle of MetLife.
Yes.
Who will have the most life?
The Snoopy Bowl.
Snoopy Bowl.
When Snoopy used to be the mascot for MetLife.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that. MetLife is just now faceless corporation, I guess.
I mean, better than to compromise or commandeer a beloved childhood figure to sell insurance.
That's, you know what? Fair point. I see your point, and I respect it. I am going to take the Jets. I will say this though about the Giants. People are like, oh man, there's going to be some uncomfortable conversations in the Giants headquarters about Tyrod Taylor playing better than Daniel Jones, and
I think I saw that exact tweet.
Yeah, and to that I say, good,
yeah,
have the conversations, because if we're starting to realize that maybe the Giants are not going to be good with Daniel Jones moving forward, we make amends and we figure out how to fix that. Giants, we have those uncomfortable conversations because they're good to have more uncomfortable conversations. That's a good lesson for everybody in general.
Yeah. Weird.
But who are you taking?
Oh, I'm guaranteeing the New York Jets.
Oh, good. That's you know what? I like that. I really like that. Because I do think that this Jets team is going to get better.
I do think so too. I still think their defense is great. I don't think the Giants' offense will stand a chance against them.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Jacksonville Jaguars at the Pittsburgh Steelers, a matchup between a 5-2 team and a 4-2 team, although the one team looks like ass compared to the other, but it is a Steelers team that did have probably its best offensive performance in the season thus far, so that's a decent sign, and of course they still have TJ Watt, who's just wrecking shop constantly. But the Jaguars, of course, are coming off of their third straight win, if I'm counting that correctly. Fourth straight win?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's fourth straight wins.
I think it might be 4.
Jesus Christ. So they're on a roll. What do you think is going to happen here?
I do think I like the direction the Jaguars are going, and I think that this will be the. I do think the Steelers are a really good team, and I think this will be the moment where the Jaguars will be able to say, "Hey, we're back."
Yeah. After
the rough start to the season, I'm gonna pick the Jaguars. This was actually almost a guarantee, but I thought it was a little risky.
That's fair. I'm actually going to defer and go with the Steelers, just because I just like I want the Jaguars to succeed, and when I want a team to succeed, I'd like to pick against them so I can at least have satisfaction either way. So that's just how I roll. I'm going Steelers.
Alrighty. Next up, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Commanders. Eagles dominant win, not super dominant, but pretty solid win against the Dolphins in their Kelly Green. We texted about this. I actually do not like the Eagles Kelly Green that much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Compared to their regular green. But hey, they won in it, so who am I to judge? Versus the Commanders, I don't think Ron is surviving this season.
I don't think so either. I definitely think the difference between you and I in terms of that is that I love bright colors. This is all stuff we already talked about in text, but yeah, I like the bright colors, and so I love like these uniforms. I love the creamsicle uniforms. I love give me weirdly bright. I even like the Pat Patriot uniforms. I'm not big on patriotic colors or anything like that, but
the red's nice.
The red's really
nice. It's a cool
nice.
red blue combination, yeah.
Yeah. And so I respect it on that front. that said, I think the Eagles should win this game. This was also a tempting chaos, though. I'm gonna be honest.
It's always the Commanders.
Yeah,
they're not undefeated though, so like that takes the element out of it.
Right.
It has to be an undefeated team.
And here's the thing: like I was looking at this, and we'll talk about the Broncos-Chiefs matchup in a second, where like that I feel like both of those teams had their moment to get those wins because it was an overtime loss between the Eagles and Commanders. Commanders lost in overtime to the Eagles, and then the Broncos-Chiefs was like this closer-ish game on Thursday Night Football, and I just feel like that was the opportunity. I feel like these matchups are just gonna be like fucking stomping, like they're just gonna take them to town. It just feels like that anyway, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I've been wrong. I'm going Eagles.
I'm also going Eagles.
All right. Next up, the Texans at the Panthers. Panthers coming off a bye. They did also change their offensive play caller from Frank Reich to Thomas Brown. So that will be his debut in this game. Meanwhile, the Texans are also coming off a bye. And I was just looking at some stats. And apparently, the Texans have two of the best wide receivers potentially in the league.
Tank Dell and Nico Collins.
The way that they're playing,
yeah,
it's not. That's obviously maybe not like when you look at the broad scope of things, maybe not. But like in terms of how they're playing this season, they've been playing out of their minds, and probably a lot of that is thanks to C.J. Stroud. So
yeah,
looking good. What do you think's gonna happen in this game?
I really do think that C.J. Stroud is the better quarterback over Bryce Young, and I think it would be like this is going to be a wild matchup to kind of like try to validate that.
Yeah,
but it's really hard for a team to go 0-7. I'm going to team chaos the Panthers.
Damn it! God damn it! Fucking God damn it!
Why do we always do this?
God damn it!
Why do we always do this? Why are we the same person?
God fucking! I'm gonna have to pick the Bucks.
I'm sorry that makes you mad. Like, I'm not trying to make you mad. It's always also me fine. Revealing it. Like,
it's funny. It's just like I'm just like wow. We're in lockstep. That has to be the third week in a row that's happened.
It's definitely 3. Yeah.
Yeah. God. Yeah. All right. Do I that's the thing. I'm like, should I change it? Because I'm still like thinking like long term. Do I change it and then risk it being wrong, and then being in a deeper hole, or do I just stick with my gut and team chaos? I understand for the pure entertainment side of things, it would be better if I went off of this pick. But God damn it.
I could also go off. Like, I could also find something else.
I don't want to force that on you, though. You were the first to pick, and I want to allow you that space. I
do have another enticing chaos that I would be willing to change to instead.
Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
Okay. I feel really bad doing that.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I will. So then, are you picking the Texans? Then?
I'm going to pick the Texans here. Then, yes.
All right, I will chaos the Carolina Panthers.
At least we have the same line of thought. Like,
yes, there is a lot of good chaoses this week.
Yeah.
So it was just when I say good, I just mean like after what has been a very chaotic season thus far, anything's a good chaos. But I just was because I was thinking the way I was seeing it I feel like the play calling, the change in the play calling might be a difference here, and I felt like the Texans like they've been playing very well, and they're actually like one of the better defenses in League 2. Like that's starting to show. Like everything kind of seems like the Texans could easily win this game and will easily win this game. But I just also think like maybe what if the Panthers just need to have like that one game that they come off of a bye and they just show out and then they just flatline the rest of the way. And I thought this would be the game. And so I was completely with you where I was just like, this is the one game that the Panthers will not lose this season. I'm glad that we thought the same. Again, apologies for bumping you off.
It's fine.
Who insured now? I was the one that insured, so you insured.
Yeah,
the
all right.
Seahawks.
Cleveland Browns versus the Seattle Seahawks. Browns played a pretty close game against the Colts. Maybe not one that you would expect them to play close to. Versus the Seahawks, managing to play pretty well, pretty consistently. Both teams feel like very different 4-2s. Seahawks, Devin Witherspoon emerging as a star, ILL. And their offense is as their offense has been. JSN got a touchdown. They DK Metcalf was out, so they went next man up. How do you think this matchup's going to
go? It's a good one. I'm going to take the Browns. I'm just... It's an iffy one, because I think it just comes down to, I think that the Browns have really impressed on defense, and I think that can continue to happen. But and also I'm like this on the flip side, like the Seahawks defense has played well with Devin Witherspoon, but I also overall hasn't really been that amazing, and so that might give way for a Browns offense that hasn't really been good either to make some moves. So I don't know. I'm gonna pick the Browns.
I will defer and pick the Seahawks.
There you go.
Get some disagreements in there.
Yeah. Here we go. It's been a while since we had a big old beefy week of disagreements.
Yeah, we got 3 so far.
Yep. Here we go. I'm sure we're going to disagree here. Chiefs at the Broncos. Thank you for the pity laughter. The Chiefs are there. It's looking good for them again. Earlier, I was actually going to say to you, Matt, because you brought up the fact that this might be the worst season in terms of understanding what's going on, but this might also just be the worst season if, like, everything is hard to read and everything is chaotic except for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And then the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl.
And they win the Super Bowl.
That's what would make it the worst season of all time.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that would be a rough go of it after all this nonsense for the Chiefs, just to kind of not be bothered by it at all. But yeah, and then you got the Broncos, who won the last two games. Won their last 2 games, I think.
2 of the last 3.
2 of the last 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless they had a bye in the middle of there.
Yeah, I forget what their schedule was. Hey, what do you think's gonna happen?
I think the Chiefs are gonna win the football game.
I do believe so as well. No, okay, yeah. So they won against the Bears.
Yeah.
Then lost to the Jets and Chiefs, and then won again against the Packers.
Won against Packers. Okay, the Bears game was farther back then.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm taking Chiefs.
I'm also taking Chiefs. Baltimore Ravens versus the Arizona Cardinals. Baltimore Ravens stomping the Detroit Lions. Cardinals will probably get Kyler Murray back soonish, but they're still a 1-6 team. Do you think that they will be able to do anything against this Ravens team, or is this a quick discussion?
I think it should be a quick discussion. I'm gonna go Ravens. But also now the Ravens are being talked about as the best team in the league, and I feel like last week the Lions were being talked about as the best team in the league, and I just feel like whenever the best team in the league conversation starts to happen, just bad things happen the following week. We felt like
that's been another reason why this year's been sucky.
Yeah, we were like after week 2, man, the Cowboys, no one's gonna stop those fucking Cowboys, and then this fucking Cardinals team took them out. So I'm just I don't know, but I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm also taking the Ravens.
Cincinnati Bengals at San Francisco 49ers. A sneaky fun matchup here. Bengals, of course, coming off a bye, getting back into the groove of things. Got the win over the Seahawks. Was the last thing they did before bye. 49ers are a little bit on the opposite spectrum. Have lost 2 in a row after starting 5-0. And are looking just to find their way back, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Stop committing penalties, stop committing turnovers.
Yep.
What do you think is going to happen in this matchup?
I'm moving this. I originally had the 49ers, but this is my new chaos. I think that the Bengals taking down the 49ers would be wild.
Yeah.
and you saw the kind of the Bengals coming back. A week on by, a lot of time to prepare for this matchup. I do think that it's definitely possible that the Bengals can take the 49ers down.
Absolutely.
And the alarm bells will be going off in San Francisco, and I would feel more happy about picking the Bengals if San Francisco had won either of the last 2 games. But losing 3 in a row is wild for this team. But I think there's a chance there's a good chance the Bengals will win, so I'm going to choose them.
Yeah, no,
Team Gas.
I like the Bengals in this matchup, but I am also picking. I am going to pick the 49ers in this matchup. Because I just, it would be wild because this team has not lost, like, it's been a while since they lost 2 in a row, and so it would be wild if they did 3 in a row here. It could happen. It's just, it's not been great for them, but I also think, like, the game against the Browns, it was just the Browns really like won that matchup in terms of the defense. Like, they just really slowed down that offensive side of things, and then the Sunday matchup, Brock Purdy didn't even play that badly until like the final quarter. So I don't know. I think I think you go into this matchup. I think you could do some damage to the Bengals defense and get the job done. But yeah, who knows? Anything can happen. But I will say on the different side of it, like, if the Bengals lost this matchup and are 3-4, that's also kind of nuts too. Just considering our expectations coming into the year. In a vacuum, in terms of this point in the season, though, like, I don't think 3-4 is that bad for the Bengals, to the 49ers being that 4th. Yeah,
I think that there's a chance of like the Bengals are still in a good momentum going up.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, so but I'm gonna stick with the Niners.
Yep. All right, Sunday Night Football. This feels like a nightmare Sunday Night Football matchup. Like, I feel like I'm not looking forward to it. I'll say that. Bears coming off of their win with Tyson Bagent, backup quarterback against the Raiders. Who played pretty well with pretty good play calling, which they never fucking call with Fields in the game for some fucking reason. I'm happy for him, but like, you could do it with Justin Fields. You could. He might not play this game. Tyson may play this game again versus the Chargers. Brandon Staley sucks.
Yeah.
AFC West sucks. Worst play calling and time management that you've ever seen. Will Brandon Staley's time management lose the game for the Chargers against the fucking Chicago Bears?
I think it could. I'm not going to go as far as to pick the Bears. I almost did. That was also attempted chaos.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna. I just believe in Herbert. And I know
you have to, right?
I have to believe that this guy is going to be able to win the game. I don't know. I'm going with the Chargers.
I'm picking the Chargers, but I also hope that honestly, like, I hope that whichever team loses fires their head coach after this game. I don't think it'll happen, but
it could happen.
I don't think it'll truly happen. But, like, if the Chargers, I almost want the Bears to win. Like, well, I obviously want the Bears to win because I'm a Bears fan. But, like, the Chargers losing would be the best possible thing for them.
I think so too.
To just fire Staley, get a fresh start.
It's been a very frustrating. I don't know who's been more maddening, him or Josh McDaniels. I cannot. With either of those. Speaking of the final matchup of this week, the Raiders at the Lions. Raiders, I mean, shit. I give them way too much credit, being like, oh, maybe this looks like they might go on a 3-game winning streak. No, I shouldn't have thought that. I should have thought that Brian Hoyer, who has apparently lost, like, all of his starts that he's had since his tenure with the Bears, like, he's been not a very good quarterback since he was a Bear.
Not a good president.
Not a good president. And so now they're 3-4, and it feels like they're right back to being a team that no one's gonna believe in, and they're going up against a Lions team that took some hits this past week, but could bounce back here. What do you think's gonna happen?
The Lions are absolutely bouncing back in this game. I'm picking the Lions.
I'm picking the Lions, and boy howdy, I would be so sad if I'm wrong about that.
Oh, I'm not hitting the panic alarm. I'm hitting the sad alarm.
I'm just sad.
I'd be sad.
All right, so I believe with that, we have
4.
Did you pick the Browns or Seahawks? I forget.
Seahawks.
You picked the Seahawks. Okay, So then
Seahawks, the 2 chaoses, and then Jags Steelers.
And Bengals 49ers, because that's the chaos.
Yeah, the 2 chaoses. Yep.
Okay.
One of my chaoses.
Yeah, Browns, Seahawks, Jaguars, and Steelers. Okay, yes, okay, yeah. So 4 disagreements overall. So pretty neat situation there. We'll see how that kind of goes. That if things can break my way, that we get closer here, and if they don't break my way, I'm back in the hole that I dug myself slightly out of last week.
Yeah.
But hey, that is the nature of this beast. That is picking. Next week we are going to go back to our graveyard. It's Halloween. We're recording on Halloween, and
maybe.
Oh no.
Maybe doing something that night if we can record on Wednesday.
All right, so we might record later.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right, that's fine. Regardless, we'll still revisit the graveyard.
We will.
Because we'll just visit, and maybe we revive some teams, maybe we don't. Maybe if this is the year for it, maybe we open up some extra graves.
Do we have a lot of teams that we can put in the grave?
I think we could. I think
we might.
I think we could. Because I'm just looking at the list right now, and barring a spectacular result from any of these teams, I don't even know if we would resurrect any of these right now.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see what we make of that segment when we get there.
Yep.
But yes, that's gonna do it for us here. Thank you all so much for listening, as always. Of course, you can listen. You can listen on podcast services, but also keep in mind we have a YouTube channel, TKS Productions YouTube channel, where I have been uploading every single episode of the Virtual Ball Boys podcast as well. So if for some reason you prefer YouTube, even though it's not really visual, you just get our album cover. But if you just prefer listening or watching podcasts on YouTube, that's also an option if you want to do it that way. Yeah, that's the gist of that. I got nothing else that I have to say. We haven't done a Matt recommendation in a while. You got anything up your sleeve?
I have the post JRPG fugue state that I go in where I can't I just go back and play Final Fantasy 14 a little bit.
Right.
After beating Xenoblade 3, top 10 game ever made.
Sure. Okay. All right.
So
if you're into JRPGs,
I have an anti-recommendation. Stay the fuck away from Big Brother 25. Jesus Christ. Hate this.
Yeah, it's been rough.
I hate it. I've never had last season you got really mad at Big Brother.
Yeah.
And that's me this season.
Yeah.
But for very different reasons.
I got mad at, yeah. I mean, I ended up coming around on 24. It's still not I would not, people really love 24. They are going to kick ass for 24. And it's probably because of the result. And how everything ended.
If 24 does not end the way it does, it's a bottom tier season.
Right. It's so for me, it's more mid tier because of all the shit that happened prior to that. But this is I've not watched Sunday's episode. I'm going to force myself to watch it tonight alongside the Tuesday episode. Yeah. And I'm not really looking forward to it. I can only hope that we get a weird winner. And if we get a weird winner, maybe that redeems it. But if it's a predictable winner,
this season deserves a Bowie Jade win, and you know it.
That's the thing, and that would be amazing. It would redeem a lot of this season if it happened. It would just be like, you know what, fuck you,
Bowie Jade Blue Final 2.
You deserve this.
It's what the fan base and production deserves.
It's what they deserve. If no one understands this, you're better off for it.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week.
Good night and good ball.